Welcome
to
Can I Just Say
One Thing
Podcast. I don't know why we said it like that.
I don't know. I'm Demi.
I'm Jess.
Oh, that's my stomach talking.
So today was like, I am really bad about eating breakfast in the morning, even though I love breakfast. I just like come back from the gym, I go to sleep, and then I get ready for the day. So I have like my mid-morning, so I don't eat then. Today was the first time where all I thought about was eating lunch. I was like, this is it. I know, I don't like lunch either.
What'd you have for lunch?
I did have frozen enchiladas from Trader Joe's. And They were good. They're good.
Nice.
Yeah. So, our weekend was good.
It was.
Yeah. What else did you, you worked.
Oh, yeah. I have a job. I have 2 jobs.
Yay.
We have 2 jobs almost.
Hopefully soon.
Almost.
Yep.
I work at a restaurant now.
Yay.
Because weddings are expensive, apparently. I didn't know.
Yeah, I know.
But now I know.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, my stomach is so loud.
It's really not that loud.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that, and it's really fun.
Good.
I love it.
Good.
It's really good. I got a 5-star Yelp review.
You did, Demi. That's so great. Yay. Especially after all your horror stories from restaurant work. Good. Who gave it to you?
I know exactly who it was because she took a picture of her food, and I recognized her salad because she picked out all the Kalamata olives. And I was like, that's familiar to me. And so she wrote this super long Yelp review, and it says, "The service was great. Our waitress," receipt says her name is Demetra, "was very friendly. She refilled our waters at least 3 times, checked in to ask how our food was, asked if we wanted dessert, and promptly brought the bill. Other workers were quick to clear our plates as well. Everyone was smiling and seemed genuinely happy." And then she said something else. Oh, she's like, "Oh, I loved the added touch of our waitress asking if she would like to course out our meal or something." Because the pizza comes out so quickly that I'm like, well, I'm not going to order all your food at one time. Would you like your salad first or your appetizers? How do you want it to come?
Yeah.
And people just really
liked it.
love that little touch.
Hey, girl, did she give you a good tip?
Yeah.
Good. Like a standard.
Yeah.
Yay.
Little basic tip.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then we had a really fun. What day was that?
Saturday.
This was all on Saturday. We went to it's called Gather Nights.
Yeah.
And we did a girls gather.
We did, and they showed Mean Girls on the side of a building outside, and it was perfect weather.
Oh, the best.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah, we just had some wine, watched some Mean Girls, and
quoted a lot of Mean Girls.
Quoted Mean Girls.
We acted out essentially Mean Girls. We also sang to Backstreet Boys.
Oh, that was so fun.
That was hilarious. I loved it so
time.
much. Yeah, it was good. Yep.
I did like that.
Yeah. And then you guys celebrated Jeremy's birthday yesterday.
Yes. Yeah, we did. We had fish. His dad went on a 3-day fishing trip in Alaska.
Oh.
Brought home 200 pounds.
How do you bring it back?
Fish. They send it. They ship it. They package it for you and send it.
Okay.
There's halibut, rock cod, ling cod. I mean, some other weird names that I don't know of. But they're delicious.
Fish is great.
Ate fish tacos.
Were they battered or were they grilled?
Grilled. I prefer.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like deep fried because I'm just eating grease. Unless they're done right.
Yeah. You have to have Shiloh's then.
Well, fine. Okay, I will.
Truly the best fish tacos.
I know. I don't know.
But you believe.
I do.
Awesome.
Yeah. What did you do on Sunday?
Sunday, I was lazy as heck.
Yes.
Shiloh and I just watched TV all day.
Ugh.
Got some
Those are the
takeout.
best.
Yeah, it was nice. And
what'd you get?
Well, we got Carl's Jr. the first time, and then
dang girl,
I don't really like
Where's
Carl's Jr. I have no idea because Shiloh went. I don't really like Carl's Jr. if I'm being quite honest. I prefer Jack in the Box. Ooh, see, I've never had their breakfast. I don't think. But then I got Thai food for just nice lazy food. No, I got it because I did Postmates, and I actually hate doing Postmates because I don't like paying for delivery charge.
Well, the food doesn't even come hot.
Mine was, thank gosh.
Oh.
It was from Orchid Thai. Anyway, so we got Thai food, and it was good. It was good because we get that. If we get Postmates, it's usually from there. And then we started watching a new show called The Boys. It's on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of it?
No.
So it's really good, like really good. So it's about like superheroes, but they're corrupt. And it's like they're not owned, but they're like employed by a big corporation that is also corrupt. It's basically, I think, it's supposed to be kind of like a satire on politics and stuff like that, but it's like with superheroes. And so what happens in the very first like 5 minutes of the first episode, this guy is working at like basically a Radio Shack, and his girlfriend comes in and is like, oh, okay, like let's go, you know, they're talking about future plans and all that stuff. And as he's like talking to her, a super fast superhero, like super speed, kills her by running into her. Oh. And so it's basically like superheroes are corrupt, all this stuff is happening, and they just are doing a really good job with the show. So it's not, because it's Amazon Prime, they're able to be a little bit more raunchy, and, you know, they're not like, you don't have to go with like what cable cable is. They're actually able to really develop a story.
Like an HBO.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's really good. We're on episode 4 right now. Yeah, it just came out in July.
The Boys.
It's so good.
Okay.
You know, especially even though you're not like super into superhero stuff, this is something that's
I would check it out.
Yeah.
I still need to finish Outlander. Like, I just realized, I was thinking about it this morning, and I was like, I don't even watch anything anymore. Yeah. Like, Game of Thrones was what kind of... No. Seriously, what time? Especially now working 2 jobs.
Exactly.
Where am I going to fit that in? I guess on every other Friday that I have off, but then I'm like, well, I'd rather work.
Right.
So.
Exactly. I know it. Okay, so we are discussing 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo.
Taddeo, sure.
Sure. Cool.
We're starting on page 79, and it's Lina. And Lina, if you remember from last week, Lina is the wife. She's been married for about 11 years to her husband, who is repulsed by kissing.
Yeah. Yep. Doesn't even want to touch her either. Yeah.
Yes. They're basically roommates that had kids at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when we start, she's going to a discussion group
with other women.
And I thought for the first time I read it, I thought it was a book club. So I guess I'm wrong.
I thought it was just like a support group.
That's what it seems like now. Because now they're just like telling secrets, and I love it. Like, this is book club goals. It's just like Chardonnay, crackers, secrets. Yeah. Like, I love it.
When we did our book club before we had the podcast, literally
that's all it was.
Like, what's going on in your life? Okay, tell me all the details.
Also, remember that book we read? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here's a couple things I thought about it. Okay, back to what we were saying.
Yeah, so Lina's just sitting there, and I don't think she goes in with the intention of confessing this about her husband. But someone looks at her. So it starts off, and this girl, April, is like bragging about her hot boyfriend that she loves. And then...
so good for you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is not that group. And then someone asks Lina, like, what's going on in your life? Like, I can tell that you're thinking of something. Something's going on.
Yeah, you want to say something.
And I was just thinking, like, if you were in a group like this and you were like, I just cheated on Shiloh, like, would you go to a stranger's group and be like, so I'm really unhappy in my marriage and it sucks, but I just cheated? Yeah. Like, would you confess like that?
I don't know. No. But just getting to know Lina in these chapters.
She needed someone.
She's so lonely.
I know.
It's heartbreaking.
She has no one. Her friends laugh at her.
I know. And
they're
her
like,
sisters
I pushed
don't
my
get
husband away. Like, and it's like.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody is empathetic with her at all.
No.
They don't understand.
It's so much deeper than like that playful thing about like, oh, my husband's so horny. Like, oh, my husband always wants to have sex with me. It's not that. She's like, she's drowning in her marriage. Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she drops this bomb, talks about Ed, and then she also brings up her little timeline that she makes up, which I like. That is the stuff that I do too. Like what? Set a limit. Like, if this in my head, I don't tell anybody that I'm doing it, but in my head, I'm like, if this doesn't happen by this point, then I'm going to go to step 2 for me.
Right, exactly.
I feel like it's like I'm giving someone enough time to...
right their wrongs, or at
something.
Least maybe... Not even wrong.
Yeah, not that I'm being... Not that I'm like... trying to like hold people accountable or
Right.
like you better treat me right or anything.
Yeah.
But
You have like goals in your head, and if
Yes.
people aren't helping you meet those goals, then you do something
Right.
for yourself
Yeah.
to further that.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like Demi just said, Lina slowly tells them what's happening with her husband. They don't touch at all. Lina feels the full weight of her desperation, and she speaks very confidently and then swervingly. And then they kind of talk about, like, oh, have you told him how important it is to you? And she's like, yeah, almost every day for a
Right.
while. I've told him, and here she starts to cry. I've told him that all I want is to be kissed. I want it more than anything, which is what we talked about last week as well.
Right. And then, so the part that when she goes into how she's tried everything, like she
Right.
says, I've worn sexy panties. She's taken the kids to stay with her parents. She's been sweet to him. And this broke my heart, making deposits in his emotional bank. She's held her tongue. She's played hard to get. She's licked the top part of her lip with the tip of her tongue after sipping from an ice cold glass of water. Just so desperately wanting to be noticed by that one person that you've committed your life to.
Yeah.
And to me, like, after reading all this and kind of knowing a little bit so far about who she is and their relationship, I feel like it's almost like a type of abuse.
Yeah.
It's like he's depriving her on purpose.
Right.
He knows how badly she wants it. And it's
Because
not
she's
even
actually
like,
told him. She's
right,
literally talked about
it's
it
not
to him.
it's not a mystery.
No, exactly. She's not being mad in the corner, and he's like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, nothing. You know,
Right.
she's truly saying, I just want you to kiss me.
And it's weird too because I wonder, okay, if I could like interview Ed, I would like to ask him, is this what your ideal marriage situation is?
Right.
Or are you just really not attracted to Lina? Like, is
Right.
Lina the problem, or do you just have zero interest? What is that called when people
Asexual.
Asexual.
Yeah.
When you're just like, yeah, we reproduced. I didn't love having sex, and I do it, and it's a chore to me, and I don't like it.
Right.
Is that who he is?
Yeah.
Is that what marriage means to him?
Right.
It kind of sounds like it
Yeah.
because then she gets into how they met and like got married.
It was just like,
it was just flatline the whole time.
Yeah, I was just like,
Nothing
whatever.
was ever exciting.
No. That makes me so sad.
Yes. And then she spills the tea about Aiden.
And then it says, there is a holy silence, like the silence before a golf shot, and in the silence one might see the thoughts bubbles above the heads of all the women. And I love that the author says this.
Off extreme.
Yeah, what a little whore. I can't believe I felt sorry for her. I'm jealous of her. I wonder who it is. Who does she think she is? She's not that pretty. What does he look like? I thought she was Catholic. I hope it's not my husband. I had an affair too. My husband is having an affair. I'm in love with my physical therapist.
Right.
And it's just like, people do think this
That's
stuff.
a real thing.
Yeah.
There are absolutely like, oh my God, I can't, what a terrible person she is.
Right.
And it's like, I get how that could be an initial reaction, but did you just hear how desperate she is? Like,
Right.
she's sitting here and confessing, like, her deepest, darkest secret and,
Right.
like, what she has to go through every day.
Yeah. And how she's trying to meet her needs.
Right.
Because they're not being met.
I just can't imagine floating through life and feeling like a ghost.
I know.
Not being seen or
Yeah.
appreciated by anybody.
Nope.
Oof.
Just a little worker bee in her home, taking care of the kids in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says his name, that she's having an affair with Aiden, which I was like, that's one thing I would at least change or not even say, like, because it's
in the group?
Yeah, it's a small enough town.
Well,
like,
he lives in another town.
but like not that far away.
I know.
So I'm just like,
What if his wife's cousin is there?
right,
Yeah.
exactly, which I don't know.
Right. So she confesses to the group, and then she says, let me tell y'all about this man. And then she like goes into him and all the
This is
descriptions.
her beau from high school.
Right. This is the guy who called her kid and took her out to the movie, and they
Exactly.
always had the river because that's where they would go and hook up.
Right.
And then they asked how it ended, and she then confesses that she was raped by 3 people and it ruined her life essentially.
Right.
And okay, so all these women, what does she say? Well, Lina says, Aiden heard rumors. The rumors were that I slept with 3 guys in one night, and the truth is these guys put something in my drink and raped me one after the other. And I didn't even really try and tell him the truth. To be honest, I didn't know what the truth was until years later. So we were both stubborn in what happened. It was almost too powerful a thing that we had, that any little untoward thing that happened would have been too much to bear. Even though it was a lie, it was too much. We were too young. We were both stubborn. And okay, reading this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this book that I read, and it's a Christian book, and it's called, I have it. It's probably one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah. What is it?
I'll get it. Do you want to pause so I can go grab it?
Yeah. Is it about rape or something?
Yeah.
This is starting to like sound familiar, which is why I'm
Okay,
wondering
pause.
what it is.
Let me go grab it.
Joyce Myers. Joyce Myers? That's who it's written by, you said?
Yeah.
Oh my god, how funny. I'm already laughing at all these.
I know.
This sounds kind of familiar though. This whole idea of being raped and somehow there's an underlying like religious theme.
Yeah.
I know, I don't see it.
That is going to make me so mad. I can see the cover, and actually Brett's mom was just reading it, and I was like, oh my god.
This book. So what was it about?
Okay, it's about this, it's written in like the 1800s or something, and it starts off as this little girl, and she lives with her mother, and her mother's a mistress, and she was born out of wedlock, and the father hates her, and like it's just like her life, and then she becomes a prostitute, which is what they called them back then, and she worked in a what is it, brothel, and she was the most coveted, and
interesting.
I'm not gonna give away.
No, give it away.
No, I don't want to, because you should read it. It's so good.
I literally will not read it.
It's so
I can't.
good.
I won't.
There's okay, wait, yeah, there is. It's not heavy like Jesus says to do this, so you have to do. It's like an undertone, but the story, like
Twilight.
Yeah.
Stephanie Myers was religious, which is why they didn't have premarital sex.
Yeah.
So what happens? I have to know, because I really...
I'll tell you later. I'm not going to... Maybe ruin someone else wants to read it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, she talks about the rape.
And then they're all just kind of like, whoa.
Basically, whoa. And
what just happened tonight?
And she says, plus, she says, I never got asked out again. I never got asked out to prom. I never got asked out on a date. Not to the movies or bowling or anything. Forget Aiden. Nobody wanted anything to do with me.
It's
heartbreaking.
It's so tragic. Like, she's been invisible her whole life. And then she says that she could not for the life of her remember a real quick kiss between them, referring to Ed. And that he asked her out one night in college, and they ended up getting married, ended up having kids, ended up getting a dog. Dogs die. They get new furniture. They get another dog. Like, very boring life. It's just her life sucks. Sounds like the worst.
When she says, the children, of course, add purpose, but the house feels like a set of posts without a goal. I'm just like, oh, that's... I also love the way the author writes this, though, because it's flawless. It's so beautiful.
Have we gotten to the Home Depot part yet?
I don't think so. But also, she tells the woman that she finds Aiden again from Facebook.
Right.
She looks him up and...
Yes. Well, this is the part where they're going to therapy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so...
I hate this therapist.
So much. So Lina tells the therapist, he hasn't French kissed me, and that's the only things I've asked for. The therapist folds her hands neatly. She smiled at Lina like Lina was a child and spoke to her very slowly. Well, that's okay. That's normal. Wait, Lina says, it's normal not to do something small for someone you love, not to kiss her deeply ever so often, even when she cries and begs you to. Are you kidding me? You know, Lina, how you don't like the feel of that scratchy blanket Ed has on the couch? You know how it scratches you so you don't like the feel of it? Well, Ed doesn't like to kiss you. Some people don't like the feel of someone else's tongue in their mouth. The sensation offends them. And I wrote, this conversation offends me. Yeah. How dare you? The sensation offends them?
And especially because, like, the therapist is finding a way to explain it for Ed, whereas Ed should have found a way to say it himself. If that's if it did offend him, that needs to come out of his mouth. And then now he can use it.
And now he has an out.
Yep.
And, ew, this is what I was just like, I'm so glad, not only that she's found Aiden, but that she's cheating on Ed. He deserves to be cheated on, and he deserves to be hurt. He does.
I don't think he would be hurt if he found
walked around
out,
the house
though.
so smugly the whole week after that.
Yep.
Like, remember the things that the therapist said, and just kind of like smiled at her, like, fuck you.
Yep.
You're a jerk.
Why are you with her?
Why?
Yeah.
I know that we said last week that he's gay, but
He
even
could be
if
gay.
could be, and even if he's asexual, like you're essentially holding someone a prisoner against their will in a marriage that is loveless.
Loveless.
Oof.
That sounds horrible.
Yes.
That's what divorce is for.
Yeah. 50% of the country.
So romantic to get a divorce when you're not in love. That is the most romantic thing you could do for somebody. If you're not in love.
Actually.
Yes. Actually,
you're right.
So basically she gives him 3 months in her head, which is what we're talking about. She's giving him the timeline. Or if she doesn't if she's not even touched by him, not even kissed, touched by him in 3 months, she's going to leave him, ask for a divorce or a separation. And the part that gets me the most is on page 93. It's the last paragraph where it says, or she gets to hate the whole posterior side of him. Also, just that writing. I'm just like, that's so, she gets to hate the whole posterior side of him. It's just, could you imagine just like honestly wanting him to just reach out? No. And he's just gets in bed right next to you and turns away from you night after night.
Did you read this and really appreciate your relationship?
Yeah, absolutely.
I really did. Like, after I read this, I was laying in bed, and I just put my hand on Brett's, like, shoulder. I was just like, I can just do this, and it's normal and fine, and it's...
Yeah, and he's not like, oh, get away. Yeah.
He's not repulsed by me, or I could just walk up to in the kitchen and kiss him, and, like... I didn't know that this was a thing.
I know.
As simple as it seems and as, like, basic as it seems, like, I think because, in my opinion, men love sex. Right. So to think of what we've been told. Yeah. Who not wanting it and literally repulsed by the thought of it. Right. I just spit, I'm so sorry.
How dare you?
It's just really blew my mind. I know. Ugh, so
and the fact that she's definitely not alone. It's just not something that's talked about, which is why I appreciate this book. So, like, we're talking about things that are seriously so taboo. You know? The fact that this woman has desires and wants to have intimacy with her husband. Like,
I just picture her as sleepwalking through her whole life.
Yes.
Her whole life. Since she was raped by those 3 men, she has been sleepwalking.
Exactly.
And it's not her fault. Anyway, she goes on Facebook and she meets Aiden, hits him up. She's like, come to this hotel room. And he's like kind of drunk and down. So he does. And they do.
Do it.
They do it. She's on her period. He doesn't care.
Yep.
She thinks it's hot.
Because he doesn't care. But he also kisses her the way that she's been like, been dying to be kissed. And she even, isn't this the time where she's like, if I die, like I would be happy. Is that what she says in this part?
And her fibromyalgia is fine.
I know. Who knew that sex could cure fibromyalgia?
I bet you that it's not sex that cures it. It's attention.
Right.
It's somebody seeing you.
Well, what was it? The doctor actually tells her.
I've seen it cured with an orgasm. Yeah, obviously. Have you had one, doctor?
Because, excuse me, that can cure a lot of things. Oh, man.
So they do the deed, and then they're just having an affair.
Yeah, exactly. The one line I liked in this, which is, we've talked about this over and over again, is on page 101. Women shouldn't judge one another's lives if we haven't been through one another's fires, which I'm like, yes.
That's right. So PMSing because that makes me want to cry.
I am not PMSing, and it also makes me want to cry because it is freaking true.
Yes.
It's so true. Yep.
Okay, are we ready for our next heartbreak?
Fuck no. Okay. Let's get into it.
I need to see these people's faces.
I did. I saw. I've looked them up.
Show me now.
I don't know about her face because I think they kind of keep it out. I don't even
care. I only need to see his face if I'm being honest. Oh God, I'm so scared.
Oh fuck him.
Oh my God. Please. I hope it's not what I'm picturing.
I mean, like,
I'm like
a decent looking white guy.
Is it? Is he decent?
I mean, like, I can see
the attraction because he was only 29.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
I'm 29.
I know. I'm trying to find like a. I mean, this is probably what he looked like when he was her teacher.
Oh my God. Damn.
Wait, really? But he doesn't look that good in all the other pictures. So go back and then scroll
I
through.
see.
Yeah. But that's probably what he looked like at 29 years old. Like, can you imagine the power you have over some young girl? You know what I mean? So I think the brunette that are in those pictures, I think that's his wife. Yeah. Let me see.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God. Just thinking of the text messages.
So I'm guessing this might be her, but I'm not quite sure. Because I can't find anything that says it's her name or not. It's just heartbreaking. And nobody's believing her. I mean, you know what I mean?
How do you not believe her?
I don't know.
There's proof.
I mean, yeah, there is. There absolutely is. Yep.
There's literal text messages.
Well, she deletes them.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
They don't ever go anywhere.
That's the thing, is that, like, they've reached out to the company to try to get some of these back, and they're just gone now. I don't know if it's over a certain amount of time, because it's like 6 years.
God, why am I spitting so much?
Are you me? Because I do it all the time. So it starts off with Maggie on page 103.
Does she have the Twilight book still with the notes?
Yes.
See?
I know.
With his handwriting?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can she perfectly describe his house?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He's still a teacher.
Oh my God.
That's what those articles are about. Yeah. Yeah. The system is fucked.
He's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Teaches an all-girls golf team too. I read that in an article today.
I'm sweating.
I know.
Why?
I don't know. And girls, I mean, in the articles I was reading today, girls from, I mean, because if he hasn't abused them, they're young girls are all calling her a slut and a whore. Young girls in high school are calling her this with signs outside protesting for him on his behalf. And it's just like, there has to be other girls out there that he at least maybe targeted. You know what I mean? Unless it's, how is it a one and done thing?
I could see it. I could.
Yeah, I know. North Dakota, you Jim.
White male privilege, America.
Uh-huh, exactly. Yep. So,
if there has been a day this month that I haven't said white male privilege, I don't know it. Never heard of that day.
Yeah.
It's been very irrelevant.
Yeah. So we start off with 103 with Maggie. Her cousin passes away. They had just got done talking over Christmas and all that stuff. He's texting her.
I'm really bummed that you showed me that. I wish
sorry.
now I changed my mind.
That you didn't want to see his
God damn it.
fucking face. Okay. His pedophile face. Yeah. So she goes to school and she's not sure how it's going to go. She's a little nervous, worried that...
I'm sorry. There are parents that are like, this is fine that my daughter's on the golf team. If you think for any amount of time that I would ever let Tatum be in the presence of a person that's accused of that.
That actually went to trial for it? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Hell no. Yeah, I know. Don't tell me I know I'm the same exact way. There's no way.
Okay. Continue.
So she's worried that things might have changed. You know, she might have spooked him, she thinks.
Oh my God,
she
so
hasn't seen her.
Okay.
I know. She hasn't seen her teacher in weeks, and everything between them has changed. She wonders if it's all been in her head. It has, in any case, been in her phone. She worries about...
This is a premise in Pretty Little Liars, just so we know. Like, oh my God,
literally,
that's so right.
Mr. Fitz.
So hot.
He was so hot.
So hot.
Still don't condone?
No, absolutely not. I think she might have been 18. No, because she was like a junior.
No, she was not 18. She
did lie to him, though, in the beginning.
She did. But
then he continued.
But later on, we find out in Pretty Little Liars that he knew the whole time who she was.
Oh, really? I didn't finish.
I didn't finish it either, but I just
researched?
later on. Just later on in the seasons. I still didn't finish it, but I watched a few of them later on, and he knew who she was the whole time. Because he was researching the death of Allison.
Fitz is a pedophile.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I know. So, he decides in the class. So she wasn't going to school that day because her cousin passed away, but she had to go to his class because she wanted to see what would happen in his presence. The way he looks at her is absolutely perfect. He has this way of normalizing a situation while also acknowledging the spark.
Pedophilia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so he puts on a movie during class, and she can barely concentrate because they keep exchanging looks the whole entire time. He's such a fucker. I hate him so much. I hate him so much.
And then they like are still texting later in the day. She's at her friend's house and she missed church or something.
So she's going to go later on in the day. Yeah.
And so then he texts her, asks her what she's doing, and asks if she wants to go to Barnes & Noble.
Right. He has to pick up a book.
So they go to Barnes & Noble.
That's what you do at Barnes & Noble, right? Pick up a book? Or you just go to
No,
meet
you
young
actually,
girls and then you
plan
them.
to meet up with a 16-year-old. Yep. And so this book, especially Maggie's story, fucked me up so much because
it's so horrible.
It's horrible, but then I forget why it's horrible as I'm reading it. I'm like, oh my God, it's so exciting.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
I am like, what's wrong with me? Because there's this part where they're at Barnes & Noble and he's in line paying and she says chocolates and magazines and book lights and mini books. She wants to talk about every single thing with him. She wants to only look at things that he looks at. The things that he doesn't see don't exist. And it's just like, that is a crush. That's what the
Young
beginning
love, for
of a
sure.
relationship is.
Yeah.
Like
it just should be with somebody your own age.
It's just it's the perfect description of the nuances of dating.
Absolutely.
Of a new relationship.
Yep.
And it's just so perfect written down, and I hate that it's Maggie and Aaron that are
the ones experiencing it. Yeah, I know. And you're absolutely right. And that you explained it so perfectly. Like, you forget that it's somebody who is 29 and somebody who's like 17. But because you're almost rooting for the cuteness of it. And then you're like, wait a second, he's a pedophile. Like,
you know what?
I mean?
I think maybe we said this last week, but I think that maybe he didn't start out as a pedophile. And then did we say this?
I think we did. Yeah.
And that
she had
sex.
Say it again. Yeah, say it again. No, do, because I think it's important to...
Well, that she confided in him that she had sex with a 30-something-year-old.
Right.
Kind of sparked this green light in his mind of like, oh,
well,
she's
she knows
down.
what she's doing. Yeah.
She's very mature for her age.
Right. Where it's like,
no, you're wrong.
Wait, no, you're still a teacher.
That's the only thing. Like, regardless of age, that's still your job.
Exactly.
That's your job.
I know. That's so gross.
Yeah.
He's trying to control himself and succeeding, and she feels acutely how a loved one's self-control can be cruel to another person. This is once they get, just the way. I was like, not succeeding because she is in his car is what I put. Yeah. So what happens is they leave Barnes & Noble. They leave Barnes & Noble, and he's like, oh, you want to go for a drive? Of course, she's like, yeah, obviously. What's church?
At church, Mom.
Yeah. And they kind of just drive around. There's tension and stuff like that in the air. And it's just, she slumps in her seat because she thinks that they're going to kiss, but they're not going to. He's not going to do it. She would have eaten a roach to be able to hold his hand. Mm-hmm. It's just, like you said, the love, like the crush is so...
Oh my gosh. So I felt that. You felt that.
Yes.
Like, that is a real thing.
Why we're having a hard time with, like, being, like...
differentiating, like, the right and the wrongness of it.
Yeah.
So there's this part where... So he's going to drop her off at Barnes & Noble, and Maggie wants to cry about it. Mm-hmm. And she says, please, God, she thinks, please let him kiss me. He looks right at her and says, I'm not going to kiss you if that's what you're waiting for. And it's like, that would be so hot.
I know.
If he wasn't a pedophile.
Exactly. He smirks, sort of. But more than that, he is serious. She laughs nervously, feeling like she has a skin disease. She gets out of his wife's car. She walks to her own and doesn't look back. And it's just, and then her parents ask, oh, how's church? And she's like, oh, fine.
Church.
You know. So,
you know how church goes.
Yeah. You know, you know.
Anyway, bye.
I checked the car before getting out. He's written to make sure you didn't leave anything behind. For at least a month, he will not kiss her, which means that it's coming. Like, his mouth becomes the moon. Almost always she can see it, but it remains a mystery of shadows and light. She thinks of his wife, who is allowed to kiss it. The writing.
The writing. I cannot. It's just so stupid how good it is.
I know. Can I just have, like, an ounce of writing gift? Like, just a little nugget? Yeah.
Can she also write a romantic novel but leave out the age difference?
Exactly. Like, have them be the same age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, could she, though? Seriously.
Please. And then it just kind of like goes...
Maggie and Aaron talk all the time.
Constantly. And she also knows her limits, so they had to set up that rule that she's never, ever allowed to text first, no matter what, like, at all. Everything is on his terms. And at first, she gets pissed off about this.
Really quick before you
Yes.
finish that, it's just the way she sets it up to say that that's the number one rule.
Where are you?
Children like rules, and Aaron gives Maggie some.
Ooh, because she's a child. She's an actual
The
child.
most important of which is that she is not to text first. Under no circumstances may she make the first move. This is important for the preservation of the relationship.
So,
Ooh.
I know. And so then she just keeps trying and trying and trying and making sure that everything is okay for him.
Exactly.
Never talk about Marie and the kids.
Nope.
Never bring up anything that he doesn't. Basically, it's all about him. Whatever he
Obviously,
wants.
yeah.
And then he'll throw her a bone every now and then and be like, what's your favorite book? Twilight? Let me read it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yep.
And then he like, she gives him the book Twilight, and
Twilight full circle in our
here
story.
we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, gee.
And then she kind of goes into details about her parents' relationship, and it's like kind of cute, kind of weird. And then where's that part where deeper into January, the slightest of shifts surprises her. At first, it's barely perceptible. Her friends, who seemed boring and childish during the first few weeks of Aaron, become exciting again. Parties and gatherings and drinks and selfies posted to Facebook and comments and inside jokes. So she's kind of like, yeah, this dude's cool and hot or whatever, but like, what about me?
Exactly.
But she doesn't even know that that's what she's thinking of. She's kind of seeing all her other friends participate in things that she should be participating in.
As a 17-year-old, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, right before that part, she talks about how...
breaking up with him.
Well, Aaron is just, like, dangling her constantly, like, sometimes he gets spooked and says they shouldn't talk. Within hours, he changes his mind. Thank God he changes his mind. She doesn't know what exactly it is, but she feels something comes, it's just like, it's constant, like, boomeranging.
Yeah, exactly. And so then he finally says, like, Marie's going out of town in 2 days.
Right.
Like, we should hang out. You should come over.
Before that, though, like you were just saying how she wants to break up with him. I mean, it's like, it's because she's scared. She's like, this is going too fast. If it was another boy from school,
right,
and this was happening, she would have told him this is going too fast. But he has this like
power,
but she can't do it with Aaron. He's her teacher, and it's simply too late.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, I totally can see how she would think that.
Yeah,
because that's what, like, he starts off as an authority figure.
Exactly.
So that's what he's going to segue into, even when he gives you a little bit more of himself and, like, lets his guard down a little bit. Yep. He's still always your teacher.
Yep. And he texts her, I think I'm falling in love with you.
Barf.
I think I'm falling... Like, everything about it, besides the fact that he's her teacher, what asshole says, I think I am?
I know.
Just be like, I really like you.
What are you, the little engine that could? Like, do you or don't you?
Yeah, truly.
You're a baby. Grow up. Stay with your wife.
Don't have an affair with an underage girl. Okay, thanks.
I love this part too. So she, like, is so nervous to go to his house and, like,
obviously
dresses up and is, like, so concerned. And he shows up in a fucking Spam-A-Lot shirt. Couldn't even put a button down
His face
on.
is spam. I know, truly.
Hi, he says. He doesn't seem nervous. She can barely speak. And so then they go down to the basement. And she just gets to see this part of him that she's never got to experience before.
Also, can we say there's also 2 children sleeping upstairs?
Yes,
His children.
His children. Him and his wife's children.
Yeah.
The wife that's the same age as him, probably. And then they start watching a movie, and then Aaron takes Maggie's hands and says, kiss me like you said you were going to.
I'm sick.
I know.
I'm so sick.
I know. Finally, she thinks, his mouth. She can't believe it. Her heart pounds. Her hands shake. His mouth. And just like that, she is inside it. And then they are kissing, and it's the best thing for her ever. I love you, she says. He smiles and says, I love you too. And for the rest of the night, they repeat it over and over and over. And then they're dry humping.
Right.
Jess.
I don't
And then,
feel good.
I know, and then he goes down on her, and it's just so gross. And, like...
Do they move into a different room, though?
Yeah, I think they go into, like, a spare bedroom
That's important.
or something.
That's an important thing to note.
It is?
Yeah. Because he ends up fingering her and going down on her, and I know when she gets up, she's bled.
Yeah.
Because she was, not because she was
Not
a virgin, or anything,
but, like...
young.
So then... And then she, like, immediately is like, what? She feels cold about it. Like,
yeah,
cold
also
feet,
because he is, like, stopping her from... He's like, no, I want to wait till you're 18.
Yeah.
It's this whole, like, again,
Power
power
move.
thing.
Yeah,
where it's like, he's in control. He gets to say what happens next. None of this should be happening to begin with. I know we keep saying that.
Yes.
I keep saying that.
Let's
just remember.
We know. And then there's this part that, like, I was truly like, ooh, I might vomitus all over this book. After she goes home, and he writes, what did she say? Like, good thing I went back in there. He says, I just went back in the spare bedroom, and it's a good thing I did. You bled on the comforter. And it's just like, why tell her that? Why embarrass her?
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Mm-hmm.
So then...
Also, she has to go because she's, like, staying there for a while. She's already late for her curfew.
She's a curfew, okay?
He walks her to the garage where he kisses her goodbye. She barely absorbs anything. She was very nervous. Her legs tremble like the balsa she used... Oh, the wood. Balsa she uses in woodworking class.
And then there's this part... He says he had wanted to give her a tour. So when she first gets there, he asks if she wants to go tour around the house.
Yeah.
And he says he wanted to give her a tour because he had laid down a blanket and a rose in the upstairs bedroom. And he wanted to read Pablo Neruda's Sonnet 17 out loud to her and give her the rose.
Also, your kids are up there.
Also, that is so cheesy and gross. Please don't.
Don't.
Barf everywhere.
Also, she says no because she feels weird about being at his home. That's why they never go upstairs.
Let's take it one more.
Yeah.
When they're still flirting, chatting it up, he calls her one night, and she hears a little boy say, "Who are you talking to?" Aaron says, "My friend. Do you want to talk to her?" And Maggie talks to one of his sons on the phone.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, let's go even grosser. He loves when she wears sweatpants because of easy access.
Because his wife doesn't have any more overnight trips planned. Their burgeoning physical relationship is limited to cars. 119. Okay. Is limited to cars and classrooms. Their relationship is limited to cars and classrooms. Which is why she wears the sweatpants. Classrooms.
The next page, literally, this is where it makes me laugh so hard. And, like, okay, let's just, like, pause for a minute on the fact that this is an inappropriate relationship, but, like, the writing here is so clutch.
Of course.
Okay, top of 120. He takes her other hand and moves it on the bulge of his dress pants. Feel how hard you make me? She's heard that line in movies before and has always wondered why men say it.
Oh, no.
Did Aaron want her to be captivated by the heft of his penis or proud about the absolute good job on her end that she'd inspired an army of blood vessels to fatten the flesh around the length and stiffness?
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, but really, why? Why do men say that?
I don't know. Like, oh, she's not thinking because she's sexy. I can't.
Hilarious.
So ridiculous.
So gross and hilarious. They're just disgusting. They're all over town. He gets drunk at a TGI Fridays because he's a fucking loser.
So she picks him up at a TGI Fridays because
they drive
drunk.
around saying I love you all the time. And then on Valentine's Day, he gives her the Twilight book back with all the Post-it notes of like, this is us. Oh my God. I wanted to be alone with my perpetual savior. Bella, the human girl, says of her vampire lover. A yellow tab beside it reads, is this how you feel about me? Please do not give yourself that much credit.
Nope.
Another paragraph is highlighted, and beside it, a note says, without conditions, like our love.
Oh, fuck off.
Okay.
I hate him. Obviously, I do. He says he can't get the idea of the other boys out of his head. The other boys that she's been with. He hates that she has been with more people than he has. He makes her feel she's not virtuous enough. Right. Let's say, what is it?
That's a funny word. He's the one. That's a weird word for you to pick, you pedophile.
Exactly. She's not virtuous enough because she's had more sexual partners. Really?
This guy is a fickle character.
He's also so real. He's a real character, a real person.
Yeah. Oh, then it's his 30th birthday, and Marie, his wife, throws him a surprise party, and he's like constantly running to the bathroom to text.
He's like, I wish you were here. I wish I could spend it with you, basically.
And it wasn't on his actual birthday.
Right.
It was like a weekend before or something. Mm-hmm. And then on his birthday, which is a school day, Maggie's so excited about it. She texts him and says, "Happy birthday. Am I supposed to come in early?" And what she doesn't know is that Aaron is in the shower.
Right.
And that, what does it say? A husband's phone dings before 8 a.m. while he is in the shower. It's an hour or so later when Maggie receives death call. Outside, the snowstorm is absolutely beautiful. She's looking out the window, remembering the way their love story began while she was in Colorado, when she sees his name on her phone. For the rest of her life, a ringing phone will frighten her. "Hello, happy birthday." "That's it," he says in response. "It's over. She saw your text, and now it's over."
It should have never began.
Shouldn't. No. And now Sloane.
Sloane.
I don't really have anything about Sloane, to be honest. I don't.
Sloane's story, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I didn't see Sloane's story coming.
Only because it's just like, I know there has to be such a huge population out there that has like extramarital relations that are like okay, like an open relationship, obviously, like polyamorous or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Well, it starts with her mother being so distant from her.
Yes.
And her mother essentially killed her own mother in a car accident.
Yeah.
Not on purpose.
Right, of course. But her dad will not forgive her and sends her away.
Yeah, blames her completely and entirely.
Yep. And so because of that relationship she's had, because she lost her mother, has a very distant relationship with her father, when Sloane's mother, Diane, has her, she's just doesn't really know how to be there, be motherly. So Sloane just has, and she's also like super really wealthy. She goes off to private schools and all that stuff. So it's kind of that distant relationship anyway.
It's very waspy.
It's so very
East Coast waspy vibes.
So it starts off like talking about how her first time her husband brought another person into the bedroom. Sloane considered what it meant that she had been willing. So they bring in a woman initially, and that's not typically the relationship that they have. It's normally with a man, or she might be with a man and then text her husband about it or video it for her husband. Her husband might even join in, but it's always about her. Right. It's never, about being with, the other person necessarily. And her husband likes to go out and find people for her to sleep with.
Well, then she goes into like how she lost her own virginity. And it's just like, it seems like a typical way that it's just not significant.
It was just something she agreed to do it with, right?
Right, yeah. It was just like, let's just get this out of the way.
Is that before or after her mother says she should diet? Because her
I think that's like a theme throughout.
So, but it says, so she had like extra weight on her or whatever. Her cheeks were round and pink. The child's body didn't quite match up with her age. And so her mom takes her to a diet center and says, "This is for you, honey. I think you'll be more comfortable if you lost some weight." Back at school, Sloane took diet pills. She was 10 years old. They were prescribed by a doctor, but she was 10 years old, and she knew it would look weird to do them in front of other people.
So giving a child speed at 10.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
And then, like, it's kind of like a strained relationship between her and her brother. Like, they started off really close, and then she got a boyfriend that was one of his close friends. And he was, like, okay with it, but then he saw them at a party and was just like, no.
Weirdly.
And then they were just, like, distant from that point on.
Yep. And it also says, like, losing her virginity made her realize the type of relationship her and her parents had.
Yeah.
How they didn't get along. They didn't connect in any sort of way. And it's kind of interesting, though, how I think having sex does open you up to that. You can kind of perceive how intimacy is between couples.
Parents are, like, parent relationships are so weird when you become an adult and you're like, you're a person.
You're human.
Yeah, that's
and
weird.
you have human emotions and relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super crazy. I know exactly what you mean.
And then Sloane kind of talks about how she like loses her brother in a way. Like they're
Right.
not close anymore. He's always closing the door whenever they're home. They don't want to, he doesn't want to hang out with her.
Right.
So there's a time when she is hanging out with her friend Lucas, who's gay but still in the closet, and they're drinking Absolute Citron.
Yeah,
On the roof of her house and just shooting the shit, like just
hanging
hanging out.
Yeah.
And he gets wasted, and then
they decide to take her brother's car to go get cigarettes.
Always a good idea.
When you're drinking, of course. And
they crash.
Yeah, Lucas like keeps pulling at the steering wheel, and she crashes, and nobody tells her, "I'm glad you're okay. Like, I'm glad you're alive," because somehow they both came away completely unscathed.
Scratches, yeah.
Which is probably because they were drunk and they were all like loosey goosey.
Yeah. And then it goes into her being bulimic.
Right.
Damn.
And before bulimia, she was anorexic.
Right.
Though. She gave herself an eating disorder, it said. So she jiggered the identity skinny party girl. She wasn't the prettiest or the most flirtatious, but she saw an empty slot for being the thinnest. It was something she knew her mother would like.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah.
Way to set that up.
Yep.
So then she like really goes into what goes into having an eating disorder and the things that you have to think about and things you have to tell people so they aren't suspicious of you. Like, oh my God, I just ate the biggest burger. I am so full.
Yeah.
My metabolism is crazy fast. Like, just, you have to put on this act.
Absolutely.
And you're
Flush
just nothing.
twice, clean up, do this, do that. You know, I like
have
this
a
bathroom.
favorite bathroom.
Yeah. And throw up in the sink sometimes, you know, like it's just...
I can't even imagine choosing to throw up. I hate throwing up so much. And I know that's stupid to say, like everybody hates it, but like I can't imagine being like, all right,
time to go throw up.
Second one today, like let's do it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and like knowing how your body digests food and like when's the perfect time to throw up, when it's going to be the best consistency to barf.
Yeah, and not dry heave or not have it come up in, you know, chunks. And how it talks about her friends constantly talk about how much she's like drinking Diet Coke and water, and it's just like she's always thirsty, you know, because her thirst is really just her trying to suppress
and just be full.
Oh.
I know.
I do that when I forget breakfast and I'm drinking water. I'm like, gotta make it to lunch. And then I eat my lunch early, and then I gotta get a snack. And then, I mean, that's pretty much it for her. But we go back to Lina.
Yes.
And it just talks about her talking to Aiden about Ed.
Most boring person in the world.
Yeah, truly.
And I don't know, Aiden is kind of like... Aiden's asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, he's kind of like a... Not in a mean way, but kind of like a back road bumpkin kind of guy. He's
totally, just along for the ride.
Yeah, you know, and like he's just like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, I would like to go have sex, but then I don't really care about it either. Like, if I do, if I don't, doesn't matter. So they meet up. She's on her period again, so she gives him a blowjob. She does.
That's exactly what this chick wants.
And he kisses her like one. So that's where she's like very into it. She's also having sex and not having flare-ups over fibromyalgia.
Yeah,
so it's just
bonus.
Like, So she's going down on him, and he's saying like, "God damn, you drive me crazy. Fuck." And it says she's okay with the fucks, but the goddamn hurts her ears because she's religious, which is so interesting to me because she's having an affair.
Someone else.
Yeah, you're giving somebody oral sex.
Yeah,
and you're having an affair.
Yeah.
And as soon as he finishes, she says, "Okay, you can go." Really brutally, he stops, holds her hands in his face. He reassures her it's more than just sex. He's not a player. But he is.
I think so.
Because it's like, he can take it or leave it with her.
Right.
He's like, oh, no, I can't come meet you. It's just too far.
Okay, so she's at her house. Aiden is in St. Louis for work. So then she messages him on Facebook.
Right.
And she, like, sends him this really dirty message about, like, this is what I'd be doing to you if, like, we were together. And then, what does he say? He says something so stupid.
I thought it was just K.
Aiden loves it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He asks for a picture of her. And she's like, I'm I can't
Like,
right now. Like, I
literally cannot.
want to,
Yeah.
but I really can't. Oh, shit. You know what? I just left the water on in the front yard. Okay, sorry.
There's an intermish.
Yeah.
She just basically tells Aiden, okay, we were talking about how he's asking for her to send news, essentially.
Oh, and then Lina begins to feel he is using her only when he is in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
She has to let him know she is not some whore, so she writes, Aiden, I cannot just fuck any man, especially you. There has to be emotion involved. You know how I feel about you, and I'm assuming you do not feel the same about me. He gives her the K. Period.
Ugh. Mm-hmm. I cannot tell you how much I hate K. Just K. I actually even told my coworker texted me K the other day.
Can you never say that to me again?
And he came in. I was like, what's going on? I was like, you just texted me K. He's like, I was just saying okay. And I was like, I don't think you realize what K means.
No.
Even with like friends and coworkers, I was like, K means like you're mad. You know,
if it has to be K exclamation point or nothing.
Right. But even then, I just can't. I can't handle K.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, you've never done that to me.
Okay, good.
I would have told you. I've been like, are we gonna fight?
Are we gonna fight?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just never. It's never okay to me because that usually means that somebody's unless it's. I know gamers that do KK. Like
what's that for?
It just means K. Okay,
oh.
But it's like a gamer thing where you do it twice.
Uh-huh.
So I have friends that do that to me, and it's just because
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what that means.
Yeah, but not the single.
Got it. Yes. No, never. Okay, and then
she's still talking about the whole 3-month timeline that she has in her head. She feels him turning over in bed without touching her, without gazing in her pale shoulder with his grazing. God damn it. She feels him turning over in bed without touching her, without grazing her pale shoulder with his hand, without kissing her between her soft blonde hairline and her collarbone, without placing his palm against the mound beneath her new small waist and the solid sloping bone of her pelvis. The sensation offends him.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So he's just the worst. So then, is
for 11 years
no,
the man didn't French kiss her.
No, it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah. It's saying she remembers the bright, confident eyes of the therapist who said, well, that's okay. That's normal. Lina hates them both. Same girl.
Yeah, no, we are
mad.
with you in that hate train. Mm-hmm. Then there's this part. She went to bed. Okay, so I'm on page 152.
Okay. Before that, basically, she's just coasting through life. She's wondering if she's turned off or on the oven.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And she's
kind of like driving through town and like,
zombie.
This isn't really very relevant. Mm-hmm. And then she says she went to bed every night that came before it thinking, you'd better touch me tonight. You better try something. You better touch your wife. And he just watches his shows and goes about his business, not touching her, not acknowledging her, basically. So then one night, normal night, Lina makes dinner, puts the kids to bed, and she tells Ed that, hey, let's go in the hot tub, and he says, sure.
Right.
And then she's like prep talking herself, like, you got to do it, you got to say this, you can't, your life is going by. If you wait till you're 52 and the kids are all grown up, the chance that you will meet someone will be lower. She's sick of constantly missing opportunities for joy, which is beautiful and is exactly what she should be thinking of because that's the truth.
She's young. She's like 31, 32 years old.
Yeah, no, it's time. You have to do this for yourself. So she takes a deep suck of air that is strangling her. And then she says, Ed, I want a separation.
Right. And obviously, because of this whole 3-month mark, it says she has trouble remembering most things, but she remembers that night when it got to be 3 months. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, good for you.
Yeah.
Standing up for yourself.
That's so brave. It is so, like, the confidence that it takes to ask for a divorce or a separation when you are so unhappy. I can't even imagine
to be at that breaking point where it's like,
you've tried. She's literally tried. It's
for
not
11 years, not just like a few months.
I tried for 3 months. Yeah. No.
This is 11 years in the making. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Yep. And that's it for that.
That's it.
I know.
Folks.
For that section, what are we reading to next? Let's see.
We can read to 251.
Cool. So we're reading to 251. Which will be at Sloane. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm already going to
finish.
Oh, yeah, today. I stopped. I actually didn't want to finish because truly, this is probably one of my favorite books.
I want more.
I need more.
Yeah.
I hope that she does more. I mean, this took her so many years, though. Or maybe she has, like, others where it's, like, short stories in her pocket, you know? It's just...
I want a documentary.
I know. I just really think talking about women's desire, because we've just said earlier, it's so taboo.
And I think also, like, I know Ed is such a minor part, but that men are not all the same.
Exactly. They don't always desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just... it's so... Human condition, feelings, everything is just so freaking crazy to me. You know?
Yes.
What goes on in your psyche?
What are you going through? Like,
Yeah.
this is the stuff that you tell your therapist because you don't want anyone else to know, and it's a best-selling book.
I know. Seriously.
So spooky, scary, but
I
like,
know.
damn, good for these women.
Honestly.
Yes.
And being vulnerable enough to speak about it.
Yeah.
And the fact that these are real people, real stories. Oh, so good.
Crazy.
So good. Well, yep. So we're reading to 251. And
We'll meet you there next week.
yeah, also follow us
Please.
on the social medias.
So schmeeds.
Email us, slide into those DMs. Email can be found at Can I Just Say One Thing? The 1 is the number 1 at gmail.com.
And our Instagram is Can I Just Say One Thing? All one word.
Yep.
And that's about it.
That's it.
You guys.
That's just, that's great.
Yeah, sorry it's not another 2-hour episode. It's because Lava Cap is not here. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe next week. I mean, maybe.
I do have a reserve bottle. You know what I mean? We'll see. Yeah. All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.